What's going on, traders, folks, gentlemen? Just wanted to come to you with a Friday session, kind of recapping things that happened this week, setups that are currently going on, and looking forward to the next week. Um, Let me see here. So this is USDCAD. So you're going to be able to look in this left-hand corner to see which pair we're going through. So I'm going to kind of flip through these just so we can try to get through them in a reasonable time. I know my videos tend to be pretty long. I'm going to try to have ones that are more in depth and ones that are kind of shorter, so bear with me. So I wanted to focus on this movement right here. There was talks last time of this zone, this orange area, and you see this huge reversal candle. This is crazy right here. This is definitely something you want to play off of. The trade here is from close. So this is a daily chart. It's like a swing trade, and it's just beyond where it closed. So it closed here. I'm in right around where this crosshair is, and we take this down to the trend line and probably get out. Your stop loss is going to be up here somewhere. So drilling down into the intraday charts, if I go to a 1 hour chart, you see I kind of just fell off the face of the earth here. It's a pretty hard move, man, but it's definitely something that could have been predicted based on the setup. Let me see here. So if I do a pivot entry, I'm going to bleed a little bit, see how the pivot's a little bit lower than where the price action ended up. It was up here. I would have a stop loss just beyond R1. And then my actual price target, like I said, would be at the trend line that's on the daily chart, also visioned here, seen here. And that's a 2% trade all day. So you're in a pivot, and you drop in right here. Even if you want to be a little bit more safe, you can go beyond the recent high here and do something to this effect. That's just if you really, really want to be safe. And you still got a 1.5 trade there. So better than 1-to-1. Not a home run or anything, but definitely predictable based on the fact that we're in this zone. So let me zoom back out to the daily chart, and you're going to notice that we talked about this, and we saw a big move from here in the past. And when it has been at this level, it's reacted to the bottom of it has held weight as well. See? So a lot of times it's on both sides. Right here, not so much. We're just kind of chopping through. But we're also talking about April of 2017. So yeah, it hasn't been to these levels, but this time right here, what is that, May? Or I'm sorry, June of this year. It hasn't been back to this level since June. So when it got here, it reversed. There was a big bounce. So I'm looking for another big bounce. Also, I drew Fibonacci. You'll notice this 272 level is at the top of this range. And I had mentioned, like, personally, I really like trading off of that level. No rhyme or reason. I just see how it lines up time and again. So that's in my wheelhouse. Going on to the next pair, these NZD pairs, you're going to see big reversal there. Also off of that same Fibonacci level, drawn on this one based on the recent move. So whenever I hover over it like this, if you guys are paying attention at home, you can see those white circles. There's white outline circles. I don't want to move it because they're going to go away. But there it is. This one and this one shows you where I drew the fib levels. So if you're doing the same, following me on your own charts, you can do it here. So here and here. Based on that move downwards, this is a textbook pullback. It went just beyond 618. Let me show you here. Levels just beyond 618 pretty easily. No real big rejections here. But at 5, it really slowed down, you'll notice. So 0.5, which is 50% retracement, it really slowed down, and then it took a huge nosedive downwards. So, and then you'll kind of notice how it lines up here, drops, came here, bounced off of there, went beyond it. This is like a really overextended area. It dipped down once, came back, played in this range, and came up pretty quickly back to these areas. So I don't want you guys to think that it's going to line up perfectly or anything like that, but I really like looking for these V formations, these V shapes. And again, man, I'm just talking about my style, trying to make sense of it, not saying that you should use this exactly, but this is kind of where I've landed based on what I was taught with Infinite Prosperity and Irek Piekarski. So that foundation allowed me to kind of start looking into these moves. So I love whenever I have price action that does this this shape. And you'll see me point it out time and time again. All right, so that's the daily, and then if I go to the hourly from there, I had this play that I wrote in last time we spoke. That's a 2.32. Let's see if we have any others that we can see that are no-brainers. Not so much. This one kind of fell off the face. Okay, here we go. MACD. Definitely some MACD divergence. Definitely pointed downwards here and kind of sideways here, like a little mini head and shoulder type of thing going on here. Let me draw it in so y'all can see it. All right, so you see this little drop off. Boom. Might have been able to predict that if you wanted to. Again, you can go into the framework of Infinite Prosperity and kind of see how you might want to line that up. I don't have an entry style that I use that would catch this, but there's people who do stuff off of the 50-minute or 50 EMA break. So you could have got in here. And the real play here is, hey, I see this MACD divergence. I'm going to catch this before it starts falling, and then pick a price target, all that good stuff. But for me personally, it's not a trade that I take. Let's look at, this is AUD USD. This channel I drew in, saw a lot of bounce in there. That was a while ago. We see it come up here. Kind of MACD went nuts, like super overextended. I don't know what that's about, but I'd watch it. Big reaction here off of the 200 EMA and also the bottom of this channel that we identified. So maybe there was a play there a couple days ago. I think that might be this one or this one. This is pretty interesting. I like drawing these little vertical lines here for like potential entries, and then I can go back and see them. You see that? So I don't know if you're going to be able to see that on your screen. Let me make it just a little bit brighter. There we go. Okay. So right here, y'all know the lineup I like, 50 and the pivot. We got inherently better than 1-to-1. Let's look at this. This is a pivot entry. Drop it just below R1S1, and my profit target might be right in this area. It's fine, whatever. Okay, so 136 move here. Not good enough, not enough meat on that bone for me personally. But it does seem like a good trade. I will say that. Give me a second. I gotta get my music right. I like listening to music while I trade. I don't know. It's just something I do. Anybody got stuff? Got anything they listen to? Drop it in the comments. I'm listening to that Earl Sweatshirt right now. His new album. Anyways, this trade, I'm not taking that though. I'm not going for that. It's not enough meat on the bone. So that is what it is. But it's always good to recognize and see when you have entries and potential entries here. I like this one a little bit better. We got a very, apparent trend line going on. 50 MAs got rejected here to the downside, then got rejected here, and then it broke. And now it got broke again here, which is kind of strange. It's not strange. It's just what happened, It's not anything. Just kind of look at the market objectively. Try to correct myself when I slip. Anyways, check out this MACD though. Check out this MACD. That says down. And this does not say down. This is kind of slanted upwards. So probably not going to take this trade. And if I do take it, it's a quick in and out type of 1 day day trade type of thing. And there's no real setup to take this long right now anyways. So I'm going to look at the 4-hour chart. I haven't really been going too much over the 4-hour chart because I'm still learning how to use it. As I get more and more comfortable, I'll start showing you guys that more. But right now, I'm kind of trying to focus on this daily and this hourly chart. Weekly and monthly, kind of treat them just like you treat daily. But I haven't gotten to where I can do it on film for you guys, like fast enough to where I can do all those different time frames. But we'll do daily and hourly all day for now. So the assessment on this one is, yes, at first glance it looks great. Then we look at the MACD, not so much, kind of wishy-washy. And then on the hourly, there's no real good looking opportunity for us to take this long. So let's see, AUD, JPY, making good time. Let me see here. Maybe some movement upwards. MACD kind of looks like it's going to fall off a bit. Again, I don't even have to draw the line in there, but I will. So if I do this, let me see. Draw it and then drag it. That's a lot easier, actually. Okay, so kind of slightly negative or slightly downward sloping. This one's slightly upward tilted. So 1, 2, you can kind of see that. And then on the hourly, like I suspected, probably not really an entry. So what's interesting really is taking a look at certain pairs, and then they have matching kind of cadences when you look at them. So these AUD pairs have been kind of MACD-wise slanted downwards, while the actual chart shows maybe an uptrend here. I kind of cheated when I looked at this one right now, but the other one I did. I assessed live, but this one's like a kind of sort of uptrend. There's no real connection on the lines, but obviously the price action is stair-stepping a bit. When I go to hourly though, you guys saw this big drop downwards, which is kind of interesting. But the move already happened. The move happened up here. I like this as a short trade. But again, I'm kind of going to be limited here. Plus, we're sideways, 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 sideways. MACD's kind of showing a downward move, but nothing like aggressive. Nothing looks real good. See how wild this kind of is. But you tell me, what do you think? Hit the comment section. Let me know if you think this is a clean trade or not. If this is something you would take, you can. I probably wouldn't. My first problem with this is I wouldn't be able to, in a million years, not in a million years, but in this situation, I would not have picked this as a profit target down here. That just wasn't on my radar. A big move down wasn't on my radar here. Now getting in and benefiting from it, like getting lucky because I, got in and it just happens to do that. That's a whole different thing. But we try to trade with some kind of level of prediction, so you can do it again. It's a skill. We're not here to play the lottery. Um, this is only a 2-3-1. This is actually a way better trade, 3-2-9. And yeah, man, I don't really. So one of the things I like to see is a move in the direction that I'm hoping it goes, and then a pullback to test a level where all these lines converge. These lines converged here, so you see the red line, the pink line, and then this blue pivot point. So we got 50 EMA, 200 EMA, in a pivot point that's inherently better than 1-to-1. The actual the sorry, S1 is pretty daggum low. That ceiling is low, so you're gonna have a pretty tight stop, a justified tight stop, which is nice. And what I mean by that is it makes your risk reward a little bit better because it's pretty tight. So this is the actual trade I would be most interested in and have a little level of predictability based on this uh, consolidation. You see it kind of consolidate. Bars got a little bit tighter, a little bit smaller, compressed, and then it dropped off the face of the earth. It never went above the 200 EMA and the 50 EMA. It kind of got right under it, stayed there for these couple bars right in here. So we're talking 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 5 hours before a big move downward started. That's one of those things where, man, if I'm looking at my charts at that particular time and I'm in that window, yeah, I might be able to see this trade. But if I'm doing a pivot order like I like to do, because it's like you're least likely to go in and touch it and mess it up or try to time it, perfectly. We don't really want to be in the business of timing it perfectly necessarily. At least I don't. Not until I'm at a certain level, and I'm not there yet. I'm not a professional to the point where I'm going to be knowing exactly when to get in timing wise every single time. I'd rather be able to set this trap, what I like to call it, this pivot entry, let it get triggered, come back and see that my trade did what I thought it would. I want to get really, really tight at that. That's what I prefer. So I think that was a pretty good example. And we are almost done, it looks like. Nothing really here. I don't know why I put a notice on this one. I mean, eventually I'm feeling like it bounces and goes back up, but right now it doesn't look like it's necessarily time for that. I feel like there's something I need to show you here. There's potential to take this down, obviously. Not the cleanest. Kind of consolidated a bit right in here and offered an opportunity to take this down. That's going to be like a little bit better than a 1-to-1. Maybe, probably not after I put the stop up here. That's not a good trade, but there's an entry here, obviously. Let me see AUD. Did I miss something here? I mean, maybe we could take this up. Looks something like this. And whenever my stop is this far away, like, and I've got support with the 50, a 200, I can probably play the difference right in here and, get a little bit more out of it. But when I do that, I really watch the chart and try to see, or watch the price action, and make sure it doesn't go against me. Because as soon as it does, I'm out here. I don't wait till a stop loss gets triggered. And the only reason to move your stop in that way, it is risky, number one, because you're not supposed to do that. You're supposed to stay with all those barriers, but then you screw up your risk reward ratio. So stuff like that is kind of like iffy. A little bit more advanced, more going on than I really want to risk for the reward. It just doesn't make sense. If when I do this, my risk reward is like 4% or something, that might make sense for me. But this trade's not that good, There's better stuff that we can touch. I have no idea why I put these GBP pairs on the list for us to talk about. This looks like it's interesting. Let's draw I'm done with this fib. I don't need this one no more. But I do want to draw one from here. Well, almost messed it up because I always do that. So this is the leg that I want to identify as, okay, it pulled back there. And that's where I like to draw from and then go to the peak. The peak is up here. This is where the move started happening. Things started getting real. So, okay. That's not out. Let's see here. I think I got that backwards. Man, I have a hard time. I'm not gonna lie. I draw my fibs and I love my fibs. We could even do this and kind of look at that back. But getting that extension just right is really frustrating for me. I mess it up quite a bit. So even if I draw here, I can see some extension going down. But that's not the first area I picked. So there is a pullback here, but there's a second one here that's a little more pronounced, as you can tell. This one versus this one. Sometimes, man, I draw both of them and just kind of look and watch. This isn't much of a pullback. It's more of a sideways. So there's a big move. I look for green bars, but I also look for strong green bars. There's not much going on here. That's not much of a pullback. It's still going down. This is going sideways, meaning the end of a leg. So I'm probably, my fib guys who are watching this, they're probably like, yeah, that's where you stop. I'm thinking right here too, being a good level to pay attention to. And sometimes I do that. I don't know if it's 100% right, but what I do try to notice is if price action is lining up. Because when you're drawing the fib, you're trying to draw it in a way that other people are going to respect, meaning that's how they drew it on their chart. Because if it's not how they drew it on their chart, then the levels are all off, and then you can't really try to play off of those levels. Anyways, we look at that. That's an interesting time to get a chance to look at that. Nothing going on in the intraday. Not really trade there. GBP USD. Not so much. Man, this right here is huge. Okay, yeah, this is the last one. Perfect. NZDJPY, do you see this? We spoke about this. Big rejection here. Big rejection here. Beautiful downward move. Still going down, dropping like crazy. Let's see if there was a nice trade here or not. There was one here. This is almost a pivot, but not quite. But it would have been nice to. This is why you want to get on. So you see this triangle pattern again. If I'm in on this, I can just kind of ride the wave. This is one of those that I just would take and wait and watch. Wait and watch. I'm looking for it to not necessarily hit the price target, but I want to watch and see if it starts getting weak and pulling back and breaking levels. It pulled back here, but it didn't break this 50 EMA because it's still on the downward swing. MACD still looks pretty healthy. It's a little bit higher than it needs to be based on what the price action is doing, meaning higher than I'd like it to be. It's doing what it needs to do. And who's to say what that is, right? But it's this right here is a drop off. This right here is kind of a slight incline. So pay attention to that. Anyways, I think that wraps it up for today, man. Hit the comment section. Let me know if you guys like listening to music while you're trading. If you draw fib like I draw fib. If you like the whole triangle pyramid structure that I like to look at and pay attention to. Pros, cons, whatever. Just let me know what you think. Peace.